Hello, I'm John Fisher, and this is the End of Orde, and we will begin shortly. Let me just check one thing for the End of Orde. Yes, okay. So we'll begin in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello, my name is John Fisher, and this is the End of Orde. And always, with these productions, it helps immensely if you add your own sounds at home. And there are a lot of great sounds, because this is an adventure. They're machine guns. Let's try some. Yeah, let's hear some. Yeah, I heard some great machine guns there. Great machine guns. And explosions, always explosions. Try some at home. Yeah, good. Wow, this is a good group. Yes, good. I can hear them. Yes. And like last week, there's some elephants. Remember, like a trumpet. Try some elephants. Good. We have some musicians tonight. That's great. Good elephants. And of course, always bombers. Wonderful. Yes, wonderful bombers tonight. What a fun group this is. Great. Very, very good. So here we go. Let's begin with some very dramatic music, okay? Hello, I am General Orde Wingate, British Army, and this is my ongoing story. We're now in March of 1944. I'm on my second long-range penetration behind enemy lines, behind Japanese lines into Japanese-occupied Burma. It's been a great success. We've put 26,000 men behind Japanese lines into 5 strongholds, massive strongholds full of men there to undermine the Japanese efforts, to stab them in the back. It's been a wonderful outing. And today, I'm off to see my general, General Slim. It's 8:05 at night. I spent the whole day going to my strongholds behind Japanese lines, 3 of them. And now I'm off to see the general. And the Americans have given me this beautiful B-25 Mitchell bomber. It's got these majestic wings spreading out around me and 2 massive prime motors. These are the motors that defeated the Japanese at Tokyo, that bombed Tokyo with Doolittle's Tokyo Raiders. This massive, wonderful machine is going to take me back to see the general, back into India. Now, I've got a wonderful pilot. He's an American with the American Air Corps. His name is Lieutenant Hodges. Let me introduce you to Lieutenant Hodges. Lieutenant, say hello to the people. Oh, hey, hi. How are you guys? It's nice to meet you. I love flying the general around. He's a good guy, and he's like my co-pilot. I mean, it's a real pleasure to be here in Burma, in part of something so important, these long-range penetration groups, going behind enemy lines and flying the general around. I just love it. Oh, well, thank you, Lieutenant Hodges. That's quite nice of you. Now, Lieutenant, is everything all right with the plane? Oh, yeah, sir, everything's great. It's terrific. I mean, the right engine's a little, but I think it'll be all right. Should I be worried about this, Lieutenant? Oh, no, sir, I don't want you to worry about it. It's something I can't handle. Now, let's get on board, sir, and let's get flying back to India so we can get you to General Slim. Get on board, sir. Strap yourself in. Okay, sir, so let me do my equipment check here, and equipment, yeah, checked. And readers, checked. Engine, check. And, landing gear, check. And the rudder, check. Yes, all checked out, sir. We're all set to go. Strap yourself in there, sir. Okay, so, all set, sir? Oh, yes, I am, Lieutenant. Yes, I am. Thank you. Take me back to India. I will, sir. I will. Not to worry, not with me. All right. Okay, so let's go and throttle up. Hang on, sir. Make airplane sounds of noise. Airplane sounds. Yeah, good. off we go into the wild blue yonder. That was quite a takeoff, Lieutenant. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, something's wrong with the right engine. It's losing power. It's like an emergency light, sir. Lieutenant, what should we do? What should we do? I don't know, sir. I don't know. I'm losing power on it, sir. I can't control the plane. Maybe we could get one of the men to go and bang on it, sir. Let me ask. Hey, one of you crewmen, can you go back there and bang on the right engine?
Yeah, sure, I can do it. Yeah, I'm happy to. This right engine? Yeah, you want me to bang on this? Okay, I'll bang on this. Yeah, how'd that do? How'd that do? How'd that do? How'd that do? Did that make it any better?
No, it didn't. I'm not holding. It's not holding. I can't hold it. Lieutenant, listen to me. My mother, who I greatly loved and respected, my mother told me that if anything electronic or mechanical ever breaks down, to just turn it off and then turn it back on again. Try that, Lieutenant. All right, I'll try it, sir. Yeah, definitely. I'll try it. Yeah, all right. I can't control the plane, sir. I can't control the plane. Turn it on, Lieutenant. Turn it on. It's not coming back, sir. No, I'm losing it completely. We're losing it. Send a mayday signal, Lieutenant. Send a mayday signal. Yes. Mayday. Oh, the radio's out, sir. How can I help? The radio's out, sir. We're losing it, sir. We're losing it. Let me try something. The power's out, sir. The power's out. Restore power. I got it back, sir. We're losing the engine. Help me hold it, sir. Lieutenant, calm down. What can we do? I don't know, sir. We're losing the engine. No. Oh, there it goes, sir. We've lost the engine. And the power's out, sir. The power's out. Sir, we're losing control. Where'd that spin? Lieutenant, calm down. What is procedure? What should we do? Tell me what to do, Lieutenant. I don't know, sir. We've lost control of the plane. We've lost control. Calm down, Lieutenant. Calm down. That was 6 months ago. 6 months preparing for that moment, for re-entering Burma. I must back up and tell the full story of how I got here, the consequences, what brought me here to this moment in Burma. As you know, the Japanese were conquering all the Pacific and of Asia. And it was apparent that they were going to move on India. So they started assaulting towards India through Burma. In order to recreate the past, I must disassemble the present. These wings will become the mighty rivers of Burma, blazing in the summer sun of August 1943. The Japanese had invaded in February of 1942. They'd driven the British and the Chinese armies, which were defending Burma, out, away from Burma, out of the country. Burma, you understand, is all about rivers. It's all about the rivers in Burma. The rivers mean everything. In the east is the Chinwin River, which divides Burma from India, where the British were. It occupied India. Now, in the west is the mighty Irrawaddy, beyond it, China. In 1942, the Japanese invaded and drove the Chinese and the British north, back into China, back into India, out of Burma. I was called in to lead a long-range penetration. I'd done this in Palestine. I'd done this in Ethiopia. I'd gone behind enemy lines and launched night attacks. Unfortunately, I was too late for the fight in 1942. I'd arrived too late. But by March of 1943, I was ready, and I was behind enemy lines. A huge offensive had been planned, but had been cancelled, but I was behind enemy lines anyway. I marched my men in, 3,000 men, and we had a glorious success. And we caught the attention of the Prime Minister Winston Churchill. And he invited me back to his home at Chequers, and I met him there in England, and he said to me, "Massively good work, Wingate, massively. You must come with me to the Quadrant Conference in Quebec. And I want you to meet a very important man, President Roosevelt." So I was off to Quebec to the Quadrant meeting with all of the Allied nations to discuss strategy, to start moving forward. The strategy decided upon was that in 1944, a massive three-pronged assault would be launched against the Japanese in Burma. First of all, coming from the east, from India, would be the British coming across the Chinmen. Then, coming from the north, would be General Stilwell and his Chinese troops, Vinegar Joe Stilwell, that American general. And then, coming from the east, would be the rest of the Chinese army. These would all converge, but going in before them, I felt should be my long-range penetration. I would go in before them and I would soften up the Japanese. Now, what you have to understand about Burma is it's all about going north and south. You can use the rivers, but also, more importantly, running north and south was a huge railway and a huge roadway. That is what supplied the north. And the road center in the north was the Pagoda Hill. The Pagoda Hill in the middle of North Burma was right there for the picking. And I thought if my men could go in gliders and paratroopers, 26,000 men, I could surround the Pagoda Hill with strongholds, massive strongholds all around the Pagoda Hill. And these weren't just fortresses, they just didn't have soldiers in them. These would have planes in them, airstrips, they'd have fuel dumps, ammunition supplies, they'd have messes for the officers and the men. And more important than anything, they'd have hospitals so the men could be treated who'd been wounded. And also they'd have dance bands so the men could dance. It was an inspiration. I felt the rays springing from my head. Yes, strongholds behind Japanese lines. And the combined chiefs were convinced. They were all there. General Marshall of the United States, head of the American Army, head of the American Armed Forces, our own CIGS, General Ismay, and, of course, Sir Winston, our Prime Minister. Massively good, Wingate. Massively good, massively impressive, massively. And, of course, President Roosevelt. They were all there. Now, the only person who wasn't impressed with my plan was General Stilwell, Vinegar Joe Stilwell. He had nothing good to say about it. This is why I don't understand. Why are these Limeys always telling us about how we're going to win the war and they never show us? I got no respect for Limeys. I don't even like Limeys. This is what I got to say about Limeys. Limeys are a bunch of... For the sensitivity of our audience, much of General Stilwell's dialogue will be bleeped. Thank you. That's what I gotta say about the Limeys. So, General Stilwell, notwithstanding, I made a wonderful impression. Unfortunately, in the middle of the conference, I received a telegram about my mother. She died in Aberdeen. Suddenly, those rays of inspiration weren't feeling like rays anymore. I felt the burden of losing a loved one. I loved my mother more than anyone, more than my father, who'd been too cruel to me. She'd always been an inspiration to me. She even said to me, she said, after my first long-range penetration behind Japanese lines into Burma, she said, though God may have shined on your endeavor once, it doesn't mean he'll shine twice. I thought a lot about that as I prepared for this second long-range penetration. But I had a deeper thought. something else that inspired me. My mother loved freedom. She wanted me to bring freedom to everybody, to the Zionists in Palestine, to the Ethiopians in Ethiopia and Africa. Palestine for the Zionists, Ethiopia for the Ethiopians, Africa for the Africans. And here I was going behind Japanese lines to give Burma back to the Burmese. Not under British rule, not under Japanese rule, Burmese rule. And I knew that she would support me in that, whatever her reservations. And I met an amazing man at Quadrant in Quebec. I met the greatest man of the 20th century in many people's estimation, none other than President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He wheeled up to me in his wheelchair one morning. Wingate, that was an inspired presentation. Yes, yes, Burma for the Burmese. I'm going to help you, Wingate. I'm going to send you behind Japanese lines. I'm going to give you everything you need. I'm going to give you your own Air Force. And it will be amazing. You will set the Burmese free. Burma for the Burmese. You, Wingate, are going to make it happen. Thank you. Thank you. What an inspiring man, a man who believed in freedom, a man who believed in setting people free, even in the midst of this calamity, this worldwide calamity. I was inspired by him, and he was as good as his word, because he gave me a wonderful American Air Corps colonel. His name was Colonel Cochrane, and he was a character. He'd started out in college as a big band singer. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 I love you. Ba, 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 ba. And then he joined the American Air Corps and became a fighter ace in North Africa, fighting against the Nazis. He shot down 4 German planes. He was an amazing man, amazing, a completely inspired individual. And there he was in North Africa before I met him, shooting down Germans. I had a fighter ace as my American commander. I was so inspired by this. An ace, and I couldn't wait to meet him. So I rushed to Cairo and I set up a meeting with Colonel Cochrane, this wonderful band leader, band singer, fighter ace, this amazing man. And I met him in Cairo and we had a wonderful conversation. Well, it wasn't so wonderful. Actually, it was rather strange. I met him and I was full of enthusiasm. And, well, I'm a general, Fernie. Why can't I express myself? I should be allowed to. And I said, Cochrane, I'm so excited. You're going to take my men behind Japanese lines, 26,000 men. You have to take them in gliders and parachutes, 26,000 men. Can you do it? Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, that should be easy. That should be easy. And bombers. I want you to bomb the living daylights out of the Japanese. Bombing. Yeah, bombing's easy. And fighter planes, I want fighter support. I want you to shoot up the ground around my men. I want my men supported by fighters, constant fighter support, Cochrane. Yeah, fighters. I can do fighters. Fighters are my specialty. Yeah, I'm excited. Frankly, the gun chewing got to me. I thought it was a rather informal. Frankly, that accent of his got to me. I mean, that bugged me. I mean, where do the English get these accents? I mean, it's all made up. All that plummy stuff. But finally, I think I got his attention because I said to him, Cochrane, the most important thing to me is flying out the wounded. Getting the wounded out and getting them to hospitals in India. In the first long-range penetration, we had to leave men behind. We had to leave the wounded behind because we couldn't carry them. All we had was donkeys. We had no air support. We couldn't fly them out. We left them to the mercy of the Japanese. The Japanese killed many of them, tortured others. It was horrible leaving them behind. I want to fly the men out. He actually spit out his gum. Yeah, fly the men out. Evacuate the wounded. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Good, General. Let's do it. Let's fly out the wounded. So I had him on my side. I'd won him over, and we were ready to go, ready to liberate Burma. It was to be called Operation Buccaneer, because we were like pirates appearing where they're not supposed to be. We were pirates. And of course, General Stilwell, who would be fighting beside us, was none too thrilled. Yeah, I know. These guys are all excited about this stuff. And you know what I see? I see that he got an American Air Force, and I didn't. I didn't get anything. Why is he getting an American Air Force, and I don't? Here's what I gotta say about Wingate. Wingate is a... That's what I gotta say about Wingate. So, notwithstanding General Stilwell's reservations, I was ready to go. And I was excited. I had my own Air Force. I would have my own stronghold surrounding the Pagoda Hill, that great rail and road center. That was the key to Burma. If I could get it, it would be wonderful. And I had late night conversations with Cochrane. I talked all night. He seemed to love talking with me. It was great. I mean, it was great, this guy. He was great. I mean, he had such a sense of history, this Wingate. Such a sense of history. He talked about Thermopylae in the 300. He talked about the siege of Rorke's Drift with the thin red line. Yeah, he talked about all kinds of things. Bunker Hill. He was always relating it. The siege of Malta. It was amazing. The Crusades. He was so inspiring. He made military service exciting. It's so boring, but he made it exciting. I loved talking to Wingate. And what I loved about talking to Cochrane was Cochrane's know-how, American know-how. That's what would make this happen. American know-how. Yeah. And Wingate, he had British vision. The British had vision. British vision and American know-how. That was the combination. So with my new partner, Cochrane, we were headed to training in India. And the training started. I loved the training. I decided to train some Americans, to send them as a gift to General Stilwell, to see if I could soften his heart. So I trained Merrill's Marauders and sent them to Stilwell to join him and his Chinese armies north of Burma. In Stilwell. Well, okay. Yeah, he's all right. Wingate's all right. He's okay. Yeah, Wingate's okay. Yeah, the only thing I can say about Wingate, and this is a great compliment, is he's an exhibitionist, yeah? But in my book, that's good. Exhibitionism is good. Now, the rest of the British generals, they're a bunch of fatuous asses. And the soldiers are a bunch of big... That's what I think about the British. So we were in training Merrill's Marauders. But I did get frustrated, as I did. I get overwrought. I get overexcited. I don't know why. It doesn't feel like excitement to me. It just feels like normal. But obviously, I get riled up. And I became very impatient with my transport officer, Colonel. And I kicked him out of a plane. It wasn't a plane in the air, it was on the ground. It was taxiing on a runway. And I waited until it slowed down, and I very gentlemanly opened up the door, and then I kicked him out of it. And my second in command, Ferguson, said, "Sir, you can't kick the officers. You really shouldn't do that." "Why shouldn't I? He's an officer. He's an executive. He should show more pluck. He should be more involved. I was frustrated with him. Why can't I kick him?" "I've talked to you about this, sir. The men worship you. They think of you as a father. Fathers shouldn't kick." "My father kicked me all the time." "And you hated him, sir." Yes, you're right. You're right. I want to inspire them. I want to inspire them to do well. "Sorry, Colonel. Colonel, are you all right?" "I am sorry. I was still working on my temper. It was ferocious. Absolutely ferocious. I would never again kick a colonel out of a plane, no matter that was almost stopped." Cochrane filled the skies with his aircraft, 400 of them, and used the first helicopters ever to be used. His helicopters were amazing. They could land on a dime. They could take off and land. They didn't need a runway. The most amazing devices, his helicopters. And Cochrane filled the sky with bombers. All of his bombers headed off every morning to bomb the Japanese. It was amazing. And Cochrane bombed everything. He bombed everything. He was indiscriminate. He hit everything of value of the Japanese. He bombed Japanese bridges. He bombed the Japanese oil supplies. He bombed Japanese planes on the ground, hundreds of Japanese planes on the ground. He rained bombs from the air, crippling the Japanese. He almost broke the Japanese air's arm in Burma permanently. We never saw another Japanese plane. He devastated them so greatly. And then, on March 4th, 1944, it was time to load up those gliders, those glorious gliders with everything, and send them behind enemy lines. And on March 4th, we put everything on the gliders. First, we began with the bulldozers, which would be crucial for building the airstrips in our strongholds. We drove them on to the gliders. And then we needed a massive animal force to build those airstrips. And I told him, and he said, yes, I can put that animal on my plane. Why not? And I said, thanks be to God, my favorite animal. My elephants. Once again, I felt like Alexander entering India with his elephants. I felt like Hannibal crossing the Alps into ancient Rome. I felt historical. And of course, hundreds, thousands of donkeys. I loved my donkeys. Come on, donkeys, get on board. That's right, donkeys. Yes, my wonderful donkeys. They were so beautiful, these donkeys. Yes, yes, and they kept coming and coming and coming. All my donkeys. Yes, yes, these are branded. These are my branded donkeys, yes. Yes, they've got brands all over them, all over my donkeys. And then, with the gliders loaded, we were ready. We were ready for our landing, which would happen at night. Remember, night attacks, night attacks. I was convinced the only way to sneak up on the Japanese was to land our gliders at night. And they came in silently, almost unseen, making almost no sound whatsoever. Headed for the drop zones. And that very night in the dim light, we unloaded all the animals, the elephants, the bulldozers. We even unloaded all my donkeys. Come on, donkeys. Yes, that's right. I love you, donkeys. My lovely donkeys. But unfortunately, in the middle of the unloading, we were trying to move the gliders off of the landing area, the landing zone, but we couldn't. We pulled, but we couldn't pull them off. And then the next flight of gliders came in. And there were donkeys and gliders and soldiers all over the landing strip, and we couldn't signal to them. It was radio silence. We didn't want the Japanese to know we were there. We couldn't signal to them that we hadn't cleared the runway. And in came the gliders. In they came, massive gliders, and the donkeys were terrified. And in came the first glider. And the donkeys were running. And then the men saw the guys come, ah! And the donkeys, ah! Ah! It was complete pandemonium. It was horrifying. We lost many donkeys that night. 30 men wounded, 2 killed, run over by those massive gliders. I was terrified. And the men were sad. They were depressed. They thought the whole operation was a failure. I said, no, it's not. Come the morning, the sun will rise and everything will look better, I promise you. Nothing is so bad that it can't be solved by a good night's sleep. A good night's sleep. And of course, a cup of English tea. The solution to everything. And that night we drank Earl Grey, because tea solves all problems. As the sun rose, we had English breakfast tea brought in on those gliders. And in the morning we saw a glorious sight. There, hovering over the landing strips, was none other than our own Colonel Cochrane. With my C-47s, my DC-3s. Yes, I was coming in. I was going to land my babies on those strips that the elephants had made. Here we come, boys. Here come the DC-3s to the rescue, full of equipment. And the DC-3s came in all day long. 20 of them, 30 of them, 40 of them, all day, one after another. 70 DC-3s by the end of the day. Yes, indeed. You build me an airstrip, I'll send in my DC-3s. It was amazing. I was so happy, and the best part of the day was we were able to fly out all 30 of those wounded. Cochrane loaded them up onto 2 of his DC-3s and sent them back to India, to hospitals, and we cheered as they flew out of our drop zone and headed back to India, to hospital, to help. It was a glorious moment, and my men realized that they wouldn't be left to the mercy of the Japanese, and that inspired them, that gave them energy, because now they knew that somebody was there covering them, even if they got wounded. It was a wonderful day that Cochrane gave to me. He gave to me, and we had advanced. We were now surrounding the Pagoda Hill, and we were covering Stilwell's right. His right was covered, and Stilwell himself said, well, I have to hand it to him. I mean, they stole my Air Force, but I got to hand it to them. They did really, really well. Yeah, I'm impressed. All right, the Limeys are okay. They know what they're doing, yeah. My problem is that the guy's in charge of me is General Chiang Kai-shek. He's the nationalist leader of the Chinese. Yeah, he's my boss, and he doesn't help me at all. He doesn't send me reinforcements. He takes my troops away. He doesn't send me equipment. This is what I gotta say about Chiang Kai-shek. Okay. So now all felt that a triumph was in our grasp. We were about to advance on the Pagoda Hill. But then I realized that my reinforcement hadn't come. The 14th Brigade had not been sent to me. General Slim had withdrawn it without telling me. So I radioed General Slim, and I said, where is the 14th Brigade, General? I need the 14th Brigade. Calm down. Wingate, the 14th Brigade is needed to attack the Japanese in the flank. They're advancing on in fall. Oh, damn it! I'm supposed to have the 14th Brigade. It was promised to me. Calm down, Wingate. You won't get the 14th Brigade. You'll just have to figure something else out, old sport. Don't tell me! Oh, Wingate, don't shout at me. I'm your commanding officer. Don't hold your rank on me, sir. And he hung up on me. So I sent an immediate cable to Winston Churchill in London, told him what had happened. And when he read that cable, he was furious. Send a telegram to General Slim in India. General Slim, you will release the 14th Brigade to General Wingate immediately, and you will confirm that you have done so immediately, and you will confirm receipt of this cable immediately. Maintenant, as the French say. Maintenant. Instant service. I loved the Prime Minister, the best Prime Minister in history, a war Prime Minister. He got Slim to do it. So Slim had released the 14th Brigade. It was sent to me, and now I was ready. The whole purpose of the campaign, an attack on the Pagoda Hill, heavily defended by the Japanese, but we were ready for them. We had the men, we had the equipment, we had the air support. So we launched our assault on the Pagoda Hill. Unfortunately, I'd met my match in the Japanese. I knew this from previous experience, but I'd never seen fighting like on the Pagoda Hill. They were outrageous. First of all, like me, they were devotees of night fighting. They also used suicide bombers. They used mortars, bayonets, samurai swords. I'll let them speak for themselves. We were holding a mountain across from the Pagoda Hill. We advanced through the valley and up the Pagoda Hill, and the Japanese massively counterattacked and pushed us back. All night, we seesawed back and forth. Attack, counterattack, attack, counterattack. The Japanese did not surrender. They fought to the death. Suicide attack, suicide bombers. One of my best officers, a young man, brilliant in American history, a professor of all history from London. His name was Cairns, Major Cairns. He was fighting with a Japanese officer who raised his samurai sword and cut into Cairns' arm, his right arm. It almost fell away. It was only held on by some muscle, by sinews. And Cairns picked up a bayonet and thrust it at the Japanese. Killed him on the spot. And then he died. The fighting on the Pagoda Hill was outrageous. Fighting like I'd never seen it. In the morning, the slaughter was unimaginable. Japanese dead everywhere. Many British soldiers too. Gurkhas, Indians, Burmese. Killed getting the Pagoda Hill. I radioed to Cochrane. I said we had the Pagoda Hill. Send in the supplies, and Cochrane filled the air with his DC-3s, and all day parachutes fell into the Pagoda Hill. So many parachutes fell, they covered the ground, they covered the trees, so we called it White City. That was the last of the strongholds, White City, and we now had the Pagoda Hill. The Japanese were cut off. We had their railroad heading north-south. We had their roadway heading north-south, and they were stuck in the north. They could not get supplies from the south. And now, when the British advanced, when the Chinese understood what advanced, when the Chinese main force from the east advanced, the Japanese would be without supplies. It was a wonderful day. The purpose of the whole campaign fulfilled. My second long-range penetration. Unfortunately, I still wasn't getting my supplies. And I knew that something had to be done. I had to convince Slim to stop pussyfooting with my supplies, with my reinforcements. I was doing important work. So, on that day, I determined that I would fly to 3 of my strongholds, visit them, lend the men my support, and then I would go see the general at night after I'd been to my strongholds. And that was the night in March of 1944 that I boarded the B-25, a glorious plane. Remember, this is the plane that had bombed Tokyo with 2 little Tokyo Raiders. I thought this plane was indestructible, that nothing could be done with this plane. And once it had been repaired, I knew that it would triumph, that there was nothing that could stop us. All day long we flew back and forth through Burma to India, and the plane was glorious. It was tireless, the workhorse of the American Air Corps. And, of course, I had my stalwart pilot, Lieutenant Hodges. Hodges said to me at one point during the day, he said, I am concerned a little bit about that right engine, sir. Well, if it needs to be serviced, let's have it serviced, Lieutenant. Well, I don't think it's that big a deal. Lieutenant, this is very important that I see the General. It's 8 o'clock. Can we go? Yeah, of course. Well, don't worry about it, sir. It'll be fine. It's just I'll just handle it. Unfortunately, I think he was overawed by me. Scared of me. As a result, he went ahead with the flight. But probably, on reflection, he shouldn't have. We should have stayed. We should have had the plane repaired. But he was in earnest. Yes, the plane was weak. It was collapsing. It was not everything I hoped it would be. It had flown thousands of miles to fight, to bomb Tokyo with Doolittle. But it was not a perfect plane. And there we were, up in the air, with the one-weak engine that Hodges had been too afraid to tell me about. So let me do the flight check, okay? Okay, yes, controls, and landing gear, yep, and the rudder, okay, we're all set to go, sir. All right, here we go, sir. Throttle up. And then the engine cut down. Sir, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Sir, I don't know what to do. And then it went black. And the emergency light went on. And I kept saying to him, what is the solution? What is the solution? I don't know, sir. I don't know, sir. Calm down, for God's sake, Hodges. You've been trained. What is the solution? Okay, there's the expression. An acronym, paired, remember paired. Okay, what is paired? P is power down. Okay, I power down. And air loans, I have to flatten out the flaps. Yes. Okay, the flaps are flat there. Okay. And then the rudder, all right, stabilize the rudder. And just, okay, I've got it, sir. I've got it. Oh, God, no. Oh, we're stalling, sir. We're going to die. We're going to die. Ah! Well, we'd stalled, gone into a nosedive, and plunged, head first, nose first, into a mountainside. We hit the ground so hard that when they found us, the next day, the hole was 18 feet deep. And that was the end of me, the end of Orde. Our bodies were all spread out, mixed up. All they found were limbs and pieces. We were all buried together, me and the crew. The only thing they found of me was my pith helmet in the wreckage. The pith helmet that I'd worn in Ethiopia, in Palestine fighting for the Zionists. I'd worn all over the world trying to bring freedom to people. Self-government. Zion for the Zionists. Ethiopia for the Ethiopians. Africa for the Africans. and hopefully Burma for the Burmese. Did the Burmese know that I'd done this? I don't think so. It was too early in the campaign. I wasn't there for the finish of it. But I had brought the Emperor Haile Selassie back to the Ethiopians and given their country back to them. The longest surviving African nation from medieval times up until the Italian occupation. In 1935, it had been Ethiopian, and in 1941, I gave it back to the Ethiopians. I tried to do that for the Zionists with Israel. But after the war, the State of Israel was formed, and the great Israeli General Moshe Dayan said that Wingate had taught us all we knew. Still, I wonder how long it would last. Of course, the Burmese, once they had their independence, were so sick of colonials, of people ruling over them, that they went into isolation for almost 50 years. So I knew we were right. I knew we were right to give Burma to the Burmese, to give them their chance. I suppose it's only fitting that I should leave the last word about me to General Stilwell. He had this to say. Well, I'm not so good with emotion. Emotion's a problem with me. I got a wife and kids and all that stuff, but I'm not so good with emotion. So I'm going to bleep myself on this. I'm going to hit the old bleeper myself. But this is what I have to say to General Orde Wingate. Okay. That's one soldier to another. Thank you for joining me for the End of Orde. And if you're interested in more Theater Rhinoceros productions, there is one this Saturday night at 8:30 right here on therhino.org. Just check in at therhino.org. It's a wonderful play called A Dog's Dream. And it's fully staged and memorized. It's a real production brought to you on Zoom. So check out therhino.org. Sign up quickly. If you enjoyed tonight's program, please consider a donation. Donations keep us going. We really appreciate your support and turning out for the shows, but a donation will keep us moving forward with all this Zoom programming and on into the future. You can find out about donating to the theater at therhino.org, therhino.org. Next week, I'll be back on Thursday night at 8 o'clock with A Murder in Hawaii, about a very interesting case, true case that took place in Hawaii. But more than anything, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for all those sounds. I did hear them. And thank you for being here for the End of Orde.